The airplane soared above the glowing night sky, cutting through clouds like a silver bird. Inside, everything seemed calm, until a sharp, heartbreaking cry shattered the silence. A baby's wail pierced through the cabin, rising and falling like waves of pain that no one could escape. Passengers turned in their seats, exchanging frustrated glances. Some sighed loudly, others covered their ears with headphones, but the crying only grew louder, desperate, endless, and raw. In seat 2A, an Arab woman named Layla al-Harbi cradled her baby girl, Amira, close to her chest. Layla, a known businesswoman, was used to power and control. But tonight, at 30,000 feet in the air, she was just a mother on the edge of breaking down. Her hair, once perfectly set, now fell loose around her tear-streaked face. She rocked Amira gently, whispering lullabies in Arabic, her voice trembling. "Layla, softly, Habibti, please, Mama's here. Please stop, my love." But Amira's cries only grew louder, piercing, helpless, filled with discomfort and fear. Layla pressed the call button. A kind flight attendant rushed over, offering warm milk, a pacifier, even a soft blanket. Nothing worked. The baby's small fists flailed as her tiny face turned red. Layla's heart raced. Shame crept into her chest. The people behind her were whispering now. One man muttered, "Can't she quiet the baby?" Another woman sighed, "First class isn't what it used to be." Layla wanted to disappear. She was used to admiration, people bowing slightly when she entered rooms, her words carrying weight. But here, she was just a helpless mother, powerless before the simple, unstoppable cry of her child. She leaned her forehead against the window, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. Her husband had passed away 2 years ago, a car crash that left her to raise Amira alone. Since then, she'd buried herself in work, traveling constantly between Dubai and London, believing that success would fill the emptiness. But on this flight, holding her crying daughter, she realized how wrong she'd been. Every tear from Amira felt like a reflection of her own heart, restless, lonely, and aching for comfort. Minutes turned to hours. The attendants exchanged helpless looks. Layla tried everything, singing softly, walking down the aisle, even rocking the baby in her arms until her own muscles ached. Still, nothing helped, the exhaustion hit her like a wave. Her body trembled, her lips quivered. She sank into her seat, clutching Amira tightly. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Layla, please, my angel, don't cry. Mama can't take this anymore." Her tears fell onto Amira's tiny forehead, glistening like broken pearls. The cabin lights dimmed, but there was no peace for Layla. The sound of her baby's cry filled the plane, a sound of innocence and pain, echoing through hearts that had forgotten compassion. And then, somewhere in the middle rows, a little girl with kind eyes looked up from her seat, tugged at her father's sleeve, and said softly, "Daddy, that baby needs help." That one innocent sentence would change everything. The sound of the baby's cries reached row 9, where Imran, a single father, sat quietly with his 8-year-old daughter, Hania. Most passengers were irritated or annoyed, but Imran's heart ached with empathy. He knew that sound, the desperate cry of a child, the helplessness of a parent trying everything and failing. He had lived it before. 2 years ago, when his wife Sarah was still alive, Hania was just a toddler. She would sometimes wake up crying in the middle of the night. Imran remembered those nights clearly, the sleepless hours, the tired eyes of his wife as she gently rocked Hania, whispering soft prayers. Back then, he used to complain about the noise, the lack of rest. But now, sitting on that airplane, he would have given anything to hear those cries again. Sarah's laughter. Her voice. Her warmth. The memory made his throat tighten. Beside him, Hania tugged gently on his sleeve. "Hania, softly, Daddy, the baby is sad." Imran turned to look at her. Her eyes were wide, filled with the same innocent kindness her mother once carried. He smiled weakly. Imran, yes, sweetheart. Maybe her ears hurt from the air pressure. Babies don't understand what's happening. Hania tilted her head, thinking for a moment. Then she said something that caught him completely off guard. Hania, can I help her, Daddy? Imran blinked, unsure how to respond. Imran, help her? But she's not ours, love. Hania, I know, but Mama used to say, when someone cries, it's Allah's way of asking you to care. So maybe I should try. Her small voice trembled slightly, but her eyes shone with determination. Imran looked at her, really looked. She wasn't just a child anymore. She was his wife's reflection, a piece of Sarah's soul still alive, still spreading kindness. For a moment, his heart swelled with pride and sadness all at once. He leaned closer, whispering. Imran, you have your mama's heart, Hania. Alright, but be gentle, okay? Some people don't like strangers holding their babies. Hania nodded eagerly, her small hands already fidgeting nervously. As she stood up, Imran watched her take those hesitant steps down the aisle, her little figure illuminated by the soft cabin lights. He felt a lump form in his throat. Around them, passengers were whispering, some still annoyed, others curious. But all Imran could think of was his late wife smiling from above, proud of their daughter's courage. He whispered under his breath. Sarah, you'd be so proud of her right now. The plane continued its journey through the night skies, and while most saw a crying baby as a disturbance, Imran saw something deeper, a chance for his daughter to learn what true compassion means. And as Hania reached the front of the plane, standing before the tired millionaire mother and her restless baby, the world was about to witness something no one would forget. The soft hum of the airplane filled the cabin, but the tension was thick in the air. All eyes turned toward the aisle as Hania, the small girl with innocent eyes and braided hair, walked slowly toward the front, toward the crying baby that no one could soothe. The millionaire mother, Layla, looked up, surprised to see this little stranger standing before her. Hania's small hands were clasped nervously, but her voice was gentle, like a whisper of comfort in the chaos. Hania, softly, excuse me, ma'am, may I try to hold your baby? Layla blinked, unsure if she heard correctly. Around them, a few passengers gasped. A flight attendant took a step forward, worried the child might disturb things further. But then, something in Hania's eyes, the calm, innocent sincerity, made Layla pause. There was no judgment, no irritation, just pure compassion. Layla, hesitant, trembling, you want to hold her? Hania, yes, please. Sometimes babies just want to feel safe. My mama used to say they can feel love when it's real. Layla's heart cracked at those words. She studied the little girl's face, the honesty in her eyes, the quiet courage in her voice, and for a moment, she saw her own daughter's future in her. Slowly, with trembling hands, she lifted baby Amira and placed her into Hania's arms. And then, the impossible happened. The crying stopped. Instantly. The cabin fell silent. Every passenger froze. The baby, who had screamed for hours, now lay peacefully against Hania's small shoulder, tiny fingers gripping the edge of her sleeve. Her breathing slowed. A soft sigh escaped her lips, the kind of sigh that only comes from deep comfort. Layla's mouth fell open. Her eyes filled with tears that wouldn't stop. She pressed her hands to her face, whispering, Ya Allah. She stopped crying. Hania smiled shyly, rocking the baby gently. Hania, see? She just needed a little hug. My mama used to say hugs are like magic. Those words pierced through Layla's heart. She hadn't heard something so pure, so innocent, in years. For so long, she'd been surrounded by business deals, formalities, and loneliness. But this child's simple kindness broke through all the walls she'd built. Passengers began to smile. The same people who had frowned minutes ago now watched in awe. Some whispered blessings, others took out their phones to capture the moment, but no camera could truly capture the emotion in that tiny act of love. Layla reached out and touched Hania's head gently. "Layla," softly, "you're a very special girl, my dear." "What's your name?" "Hania, Hania. And this is my daddy. He says love makes the world quiet." Layla looked past her to see Imran, standing in the aisle, watching with tears glistening in his eyes. In that moment, two worlds, one of wealth and one of simplicity, met through the heart of a child. The baby, now fast asleep, rested peacefully in Hania's arms. The plane that had been filled with chaos moments ago now felt sacred, like a silent prayer in the clouds. And as Layla looked at the girl holding her child, she felt something awaken deep inside her, something she hadn't felt in years, hope. When the airplane finally touched down in London, the cabin lights flickered on. Passengers began gathering their belongings, but no one could stop talking about what had happened mid-flight. The story of the little girl who silenced a millionaire's crying baby had already spread from row to row, whispered with awe and warmth. Layla Al-Harbi, still holding her now sleeping baby Amira, looked over at Hania and her father Imran. She had spent the rest of the flight watching them, the way Hania rested her small head on her father's arm, the way Imran looked at her with pride, not wealth. Layla felt something she hadn't in a long time, gratitude. As the passengers began disembarking, Layla approached them. Her designer heels clicked softly against the floor, but her voice, when she spoke, trembled with sincerity. "Layla, I owe you both more than I can say." Imran smiled humbly. "Imran, please don't, ma'am. Children have pure hearts." She just did what she felt was right. Layla knelt before Hania, brushing a stray hair from her forehead. "Layla, you have a gift, sweetheart. You gave peace to my baby, and to me." Hania blushed shyly. "Hania, Mama used to say love can make even strangers family." Those simple words struck Layla's soul like lightning. For years, she had built walls around herself after her husband's death, believing love only brought pain. But this child, this stranger, had shown her that love wasn't weakness. It was healing. She turned to Imran. "Layla, if it's not too forward, may I ask where you're from?" "Imran, Karachi, Pakistan. I work as an engineer." "We were visiting London for Hania's school scholarship interview." Layla's brows lifted slightly. "Layla, a scholarship?" Imran, "Yes. I can't afford private schooling, but she's brilliant. I'm just trying to give her a better future." Layla looked at Hania again, her gentle smile, her quiet confidence, and felt a lump rise in her throat. Without hesitation, she said softly, "Layla, I'd like to help. I have a foundation for children's education. If you'll allow me, I'd be honored to sponsor her schooling." Imran froze, disbelief clouding his eyes. "Imran, ma'am, we didn't help for anything in return." Layla, smiling through tears, "I know. That's exactly why I want to. Kindness should be rewarded, not because it asks, but because it inspires." She handed him her business card. "Layla, please, let me do this. You and your daughter reminded me what humanity feels like." Imran's voice broke as he said, "Imran, you have no idea what this means to us." Layla, "Oh, I do. You gave me peace when I had none." Outside the airport, as the sun began to rise, Layla stood with her baby in her arms, watching Imran and Hania walk away, hand in hand, their silhouettes glowing in the golden light. For the first time in years, she smiled, a real smile, one born from gratitude and connection. On that ordinary flight, three hearts from different worlds met, and through a single act of compassion, they found what money, success, and even words could never buy.